It's 3 in the morning. Nothing is wrong. You have work in 5 hours. And your brain has decided that right now is the moment to replay something you said in 2015. Not a tragedy, a sentence. One slightly wrong sentence to someone who has almost certainly forgotten it. Why that one? Why now? And why does it still make your face hot 10 years later? None of this is random. Every part of it is your memory system doing exactly what it was built to do. 7 reasons it keeps coming back, and at the end, the thing that actually stops it, which is not what you'd guess. Start with a finding from 1927 in a restaurant. A psychologist noticed that waiters could recall complicated unpaid orders perfectly and forgot them almost immediately once the bill was settled. She tested it properly. People remembered interrupted tasks far better than completed ones. An unfinished thing stays open. It keeps a small amount of attention allocated to it, indefinitely. Now look at what your brain actually picks to replay at 3 in the morning. It's never the arguments you won. It's the thing you didn't say, the apology you never made, the exit you fumbled. Every single one is an open file. Something happened, and it never got a proper ending. Your brain isn't torturing you. It's holding a task open because nobody ever told it the task was done. You can test it on yourself in about 4 seconds. Think of a conversation that ended badly and one that ended well. Only one of them has a script attached where you know exactly what you should have said. That script is the open file. You've been writing it, on and off, for years. Second reason, and it explains why the bad ones stick and the good ones don't. Researchers summarized decades of work on this with a phrase that stuck. Bad is stronger than good. Negative events are encoded more strongly, recalled more easily, and last longer than positive ones of the same size, consistently across dozens of areas. And that's not a design fault. For most of human history, the cost of forgetting a social mistake was much higher than the cost of forgetting a compliment. Getting it wrong in front of the group had consequences. So the system that flags those moments got built to be loud, and it stayed loud. Then add the second ingredient. Emotional arousal at the moment something happens makes the memory physically stickier. That flush of embarrassment you felt at the time wasn't just unpleasant. It was the save button. Which is the cruel part. The more mortifying it was, the better it got stored. It's the same reason you can describe the room, the lighting, and what you were wearing during your worst moment, and remember almost nothing about a perfectly nice Tuesday from the same week. One got saved in full color with the sound on. The other was never really saved at all. So why does it wait until 3 in the morning to bring it up? During the day, your attention has a job. Work, traffic, conversations, a screen. Something is always occupying the front of your mind. The moment that stops, a different network takes over, the one that runs when you're not doing anything in particular. That network's job is roughly self-referential thinking, reviewing yourself, rehearsing the past, and simulating the future. It was always running. You just couldn't hear it over everything else. Now take away the room, the light, the phone, and the conversation, and there's nothing left competing for the channel. There's a physical layer too. Cortisol starts climbing in the second half of the night as the body prepares to wake up. So you're at your most alert to threat and least occupied at the same time. That's the window. It's also why the same memory feels almost funny at 11 the next morning. Nothing about the memory changed. The conditions did. Which is also why the phone doesn't help, even though it feels like it should. Scrolling occupies the channel for as long as you scroll, then hands it straight back the moment you stop. You didn't close the loop. You paused it and made yourself more awake in the process. Now the reason this is a bad use of your night, and there's a proper experiment for it. Researchers made students wear a deeply embarrassing t-shirt into a room full of other students, then asked them to estimate how many people had noticed. The wearers guessed roughly half the room. The actual figure was about half of that. They called it the spotlight effect. We consistently overestimate how much of us other people are registering at all. And the mechanism is simple. You have complete access to your own experience and none to theirs. So you can't help using your own vividness as an estimate of theirs. It's always far too high. There's a quick test for this. Try to remember something embarrassing that somebody else did in front of you more than a year ago. Most people can't produce a single one. Not because they're kind, because it genuinely didn't get stored. You're the only person in the world still hosting this. It closed for everyone else the same evening. And it's worth sitting with what that actually means. There is no ongoing situation. There's no one out there thinking less of you about this. The entire event now exists in exactly one place, and it's the place that keeps deciding to open it at 3 in the morning. Now the mistake almost everybody makes with this, and it's an understandable one. When the memory shows up, it feels productive to go through it again, as if this pass might finally resolve something. Psychologists separate two things that look identical from inside: reflection and rumination. Reflection asks what happened and what I'd do differently. It's curious, it's finite, and it produces something. Rumination asks, why am I like this? It has no answer, so it can run forever. And the research is not neutral between them. Rumination reliably predicts worse mood, worse sleep, and worse problem solving, not better. There's a further twist. Every time you recall a memory, you resave it, and it can pick up whatever you're feeling during the replay. Which means the version you're now replaying may genuinely be worse than what happened. You've been editing it, at 3 in the morning, in a bad mood, for a decade. There's a specific tell for this. If the memory has got sharper over the years rather than blurrier, that is an accuracy. Real memories fade. A memory that's more vivid at year 10 than year 1 is one you've been actively maintaining. So what actually works? And it isn't trying to stop thinking about it. Deliberately suppressing a thought tends to make it more available, not less. Telling yourself not to think about it is a reliable way to think about it. What does work comes back to where we started. The file is open, so close it. Writing it down is oddly effective, and there's a reason. An unfinished task stops nagging once a concrete plan exists for it, even if the plan is for later. So the move is to give it a specific slot. Not I'll deal with this. Tomorrow at 6, at the kitchen table, I'll think about this for 10 minutes. Researchers who study worry have tested a version of this for decades. Setting aside a fixed appointment for the worry measurably reduces how much of it leaks into the rest of the day. The second move is to actually finish the thing, where finishing is still possible. An apology 10 years late is strange to send and almost always closes the loop instantly. Not because they needed it, because the file needed an ending. And where finishing genuinely isn't possible, the ending you give it is a sentence. That was who I was then. It's not who's lying here now. And one more that sounds too simple to work. Say it out loud. A thought said aloud, in an ordinary voice, in a dark room, almost always sounds smaller than it did inside your head. That gap is the whole point. It's the first honest measurement you've taken of it in years. There's a line here, and it's worth drawing clearly. Everything so far describes an ordinary brain doing ordinary maintenance badly timed. Almost everyone has a version of this. But the same loop has a heavier version. When it runs most nights, when it spreads past specific memories into a general verdict on yourself, when it's costing you sleep week after week. That isn't a character flaw, and it isn't something to fix with a better bedtime routine. Persistent rumination is one of the better studied features of depression and anxiety, and it responds well to actual treatment. So the honest advice, if the 3 in the morning thing is occasional, everything in this video applies. If it's most nights, talk to someone who does this for a living. That's not a bigger version of the same fix. It's a different one. So here's the ending, and it's a slightly kinder one than you'd expect. The reason that memory won't leave is that your brain overvalues social mistakes, encodes them in high definition, and reviews them the moment nothing else needs your attention. All 3 of those are protective systems working correctly. It's just that they were designed for a group of 40 people you'd see every day for life. There's something else worth saying. The fact that it still makes you wince is evidence about you, and it's the opposite of what you think it is. People who genuinely don't care how they affect others don't lie awake reviewing it. The cringe is a conscience with bad timing. So tonight, when it arrives, and it will, the move is not to argue with it. It isn't a warning. It isn't new information. It's a very old open tab, and you're allowed to close it. And whoever was there in 2015 genuinely does not remember. You have been the only person in that room for 10 years. If your brain does this, subscribe. One of these every week. Read people, not minds.